Hi, and welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about the two different types of intuition that you may not know about when it comes to connecting with your own intuition for your own decisions versus intuition for the outside world. They are two different things. So, before we get started, just like to introduce myself. I am intuitive channel, transformational guide, and somatic coach, Marisa Liza Pell. And I've been doing this work for 25 years, especially in the field of intuition. That's really where it all began for me. There was a type of intuition, even doing this for myself in my job, that I wasn't even aware of. So it wasn't until I started doing the work within the body and adding science to it that the second part of that intuition started to awaken. And that is going to be the most important part for you. So let me go back to the first type of intuition. Okay. That's the intuition for the outside world. We're not talking about channeling right now. We're not talking about connecting to the other side. We're not talking about connecting to higher realms. We're just talking about your intuition for the outside world. Like you meet somebody, you like them or not. You're deciding on whether to do a business deal. You get a feeling, you get a sensation, you get a thought, you get a word, you might get a visual, right? Those are connections on the outside. Now, if you are a highly sensitive person, you may be extra gifted with intuition, right? Even as a high achiever, somebody who is working at a job, that you really like on a high level, you still may be highly sensitive. If you are, your intuitive abilities since childhood probably are a little bit more attuned than most people if you've had some energetic blocks or breaks or what I call big T or little t traumas early on in life, depending on the first 6 or to 10 years of your life. If you've had these breaches, you most likely had to understand energy at a very early age. What kind of mood is the person going to be in that's walking into the room? How do I get around this energy? How do I read energy so that I know I can relax or that I have to stay on guard? Basically, what the brain does is it starts to scan the environment on what is safe and what is dangerous. And then our protective mechanisms kind of go up at that point. So if in your life you've had to manage energy, you've had to protect other people, you've had to know when other people were in good moods or bad moods, or you've had to play emotional laser tag or energetic laser tag early on in life as a survival response, or if you were in states of fight or flight, freeze, disconnection, or just like, hey, I want to delve into all this spiritual stuff because I just don't want to be connected to the earth plane because things are too painful here, right? It's so important to understand that you've developed such amazing survival instincts that your intuition for the outside world is on point. I work with a lot of highly sensitive people. So, a lot of highly sensitive individuals who have tried to maneuver around energy most of their life. And so, as a result, they're more naturally talented with their intuition. And so sometimes they have a hard time determining what's my fear, what's my intuition. And they are the best advice givers for everybody else. They're the ones taking care of everybody else. They're usually the caretakers and the strengths of the family because everybody is always coming to them for advice or dumping on them or draining them, right? If you relate to this, you kind of understand. So it's important that highly sensitive people realize their capacity. Now, capacity has to do with the body, and that's where the somatics come in. So let me go to the whiteboard here for a second and see if we can do a little map here. Now, I'm not an artist, okay? This is the first time I'm using the whiteboard, so just bear with me. I will probably advance the style of whiteboarding that I have on here. We're going to try to use it, and then I could do a little visual for you. It looks like one of those little porcelain things that you put one into the other one. I don't know. Just never mind. So, mental intuition here. Right. Crown chakra here. A lot of mental energy, a lot of scattered energy. Not only are you having to deal with scattered energy from the outside world, but also in your own mind, and then the world's energy, because there are no boundaries in the mental space here, especially when your intuition's high. Then we have world energy, right? So imagine that you're processing all this mental stuff, right? But your intuition still online. So you could be clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, all that kind of stuff. And you could say, oh, I just want to develop my intuition more. When it comes to your own personal life, things might not be the same. Meaning that you might be able to predict for somebody else what's going on or know things about other people. When it comes to your own decisions of life, love, business, and finance and romance and all your big decisions in life, or even what to eat, at a restaurant, maybe that intuition is blocked. And that is where we start to talk about the second intuition, which is the primary one you should be moving towards. So a lot of people say, well, I just want to develop this intuition here. I want to learn how to read better. I want to learn how to master intuition. Well, all you're really doing, if this is shut off here, which if you're highly sensitive, it is here, because those protectors are online and you have learned to scan for safety and danger up here. But all it's doing is protecting you and not allowing you to step into the bigger life that you want for yourself, right? So if we want to go here, we got to align these two things. Head and heart alignment, right? But in order to get down here, we got to go through all of these levels here, these chakras here, right? Got to go down the levels. So in order to get back in the body, we have to signal safety to the body. How do we do that? We do that through the somatics, not more intuition. Second intuition, let me put green here. When it goes, this is in your solar plexus. This is your core center of power, right? We want this on above all else right here. We want this on above all else right here. Because then we know exactly what decisions we need to make. We know exactly what our body is telling us. Instead of informational channeling, we come back to a felt sense, which has been numbed and blocked because either it was invalidated when you felt something as a younger person and said, I felt or I heard this, and your parents were like, what, are you crazy? Or you see something and people don't want you to see it, or they're afraid of your own independence and they say, oh, you shouldn't do that as a job, as an artist. You should be a lawyer or doctor, right? Whatever the case may be, it's still like invalidating your truth and your felt sense. So what happens, we go into the mental space and we shut this intuition down. Okay. We shut that intuition down, which is the GPS of our highest intention life path. That's the GPS system. But normally, this is shut down because everything we want in life requires deep connection, right? We're looking for connection, deep connection to the world, deep connection to other people, deeper connection in a romantic relationship, deeper connection to our passions. But if we are on guard and everything's blocked and we're constantly scanning for who's safe or dangerous, and if I could trust people, your protective mechanisms in your body are protecting you from the very thing that you want, right? And so we have to be more vulnerable, more open and trusting, but that's the very thing that our nervous system and our protectors are protecting us from, right? So my job and what I do is I help people clear this scattered mess up here, clear the scattered mess, clear the mental energy, right? Clear the mental space. That's what we have to do first. We can't start here. We can't start here. We have to go in order, clear the mental space. Then we can't skip the mental space, not go here to the physical space, the boundary space. What are our needs? What are our wants? What are our desires? What is physical space for us, right? Do we even know what that is if we have no boundaries? Do we even know what our needs are if we're fulfilling everybody else's needs and putting their needs above our own, right? Which is part of that, codependency that could result from the energetic breaches. Always using that as a survival response, saying, well, if we, manage all this energy, if we please other people, then we are safe. Okay. So that's where that's coming from. So then we have no awareness here in this energetic center about our real needs and our boundaries, nor have we become aware of them or voice them or have any connection to them, right? We know like what we want to protect ourselves from, that's for sure. And that's whatever's familiar from those times where we had high stress or we had people that didn't show up for us, right? We know how to navigate those unfamiliar roads. We don't know how to navigate when somebody says, yeah, I want to meet your needs, or yeah, here's the opportunity to step into your dream job, or here's the opportunities to step into a healthy relationship. Those things, if you have these protections online, are going to trigger you so much more than the familiar road of the drama and chaos that you've been used to, right? I know it sounds weird, but yes, we weren't used to getting the needs met. We weren't even used to understanding what our needs are in order to voice the needs. So then, as we become aware of space and the ability to meet those needs, this energetic center is where the heart starts to heal, where the emotions start to heal, and where the second intuition gets turned on. Awesome. This is where we don't ever, 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 ever again have to go and ask somebody else what we should do, because we are so sure of what we want, what's in our path, what's next for us. Now, our insight comes from coaches, mentors, spiritual advisors to help us implement action toward it. Because otherwise, we might have desires inside, but as soon as we start to move toward that, boom, body and mind starts telling the stories of why we can't, or we start to get unusual being tired, or just stopping it, or what people call self-sabotage. I don't really like the word self-sabotage because I feel it is self-shaming, and we already, like, people who are highly sensitive are already too critical of themselves anyway. So just knowing that the capacity is limited is what I'm saying. We hit that like electric fence, like, oh no, the body, it's too much. It's too much vulnerability, too much being out there. You know what I mean? So once this turns on, we don't ever have to go and go to get like a psychic reading about the future, right? And my field is intuition, right? That's what I did for a long time. Most people were coming to me in their protective mechanisms were firing on all cylinders, and that inner child inside that couldn't resolve the things that they needed to resolve just wanted a sense of control of what the future looked like. But the thing is, we can look into that future, but if somebody's cycling and these protections and that center is off, that intuitive center is off, they're going to know the truth, they're going to feel the truth, but they're not going to be able to actually step into it. Okay. So then what happens is they know the truth. Protections come back on because they're saying, well, it's not safe for me to step into my truth because it wasn't before. And then all of this scatteredness starts to happen again. I'm in limbo. I'm overwhelmed. I can't make a decision. I don't know what to do. If I do this and I'm wrong, if I do this and I fail, like it comes back. So then everybody just stays in that mental space. So, second intuition is the goal. Very, very important. It is a felt sense, it is a knowing, and it is a deep sense of knowing what you like, what you don't, what drains you, and what energizes you, and the ability to be able to not just know it, but to listen and to act on it. So if this made sense for you and you resonate with this and you want to learn more, I put a link below to where I have a whole 3-step soul system on moving you through this process and getting your intuition more online, the second intuition primarily, and getting you grounded back into the body to fulfill your purpose and mission and to live a more fulfilled life. Thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber so you get notifications of the next videos. And I'll put a recommendation for the next video in the next window. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.